What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, so the 2023 Toronto Pro is officially in the history books, and we have a new champion in Iain Valliiere. Iain comes in and secures the victory, the Olympia qualification, and his 6th professional pro win in the IFBB Pro League, further cementing Iain as the greatest Canadian bodybuilder of all time. And this is actually a show that Iain's never won before. A lot of people don't know that, but Iain has never won the Toronto Pro. It was like the last Canadian show that Iain really needed to win as a Canadian bodybuilder. The top 4 overall was a battle between conditioning and overall size and shape. That's what it really came down to. And we had Iain just slightly edge ahead for the victory here, I think. I really didn't see a lot of differences from anyone in the top 5 from prejudging to finals, but the show did run a few hours later than expected, which probably affected not only the ability to make changes between prejudging and finals, but also just to hit the peak to begin with. So yeah, with that being said, before we really get into each competitor here, I just want to address a couple of things. After the prejudging, based on what I was seeing from some of the live stream pictures and clips I saw out there, it looked like the live stream was pretty poor quality, which further really cements my decision to not purchase the live stream, since I would have bet the value just wasn't there for the over $100 price point. Photographers were blocking both Ross and Joe Seaman during the prejudging that I noticed, but look, okay. Anyway, you guys, I ranted about the price of the live stream enough in my last video, I think. I'll link that for you guys right here, but I also think the powers that be behind the Toronto Pro really missed the mark on a couple of things here. Aside from the live stream cost and the quality, the color of the backdrop really didn't help the audience see all of the detail in every single competitor's physique. The backdrop being a combination of tan, brown, yellow, red type colors primarily, the competitors almost looked like they were camouflaged. Pretty much everyone's tan was a very close shade to the actual backdrop of the show. So, not a great color scheme. The lighting I think was not bad overall, but yeah, after trying to look past all of that and finding some higher quality images and video footage out there, let's just get into it here, because this show was an absolute nail-biter between the top 2 especially. So when it comes to the battle for the top 2, Iain and Hassan both had their own questions that were just begging to be answered going into this show. With Hassan, the question was around conditioning. Was Hassan going to finally nail that conditioning on stage? Because if he did, Iain and the rest of the lineup would have massively had their hands full. With Iain, the question was concerning his back. Has he regained that width and thickness in the back, or has he actually atrophied? So, when it comes down to Hassan's conditioning, I think he looked like he had good conditioning, but not necessarily that lights out conditioning that we were all hoping for. Now, this was his first show working with Chad Nichols, so it might take Chad another show or two to really figure out Hassan, but I think Hassan did overall look really good here. My eyes were actually, they kept getting drawn toward Hassan, if anything. He was noticeably bigger than everyone else in this lineup, really, in my opinion. Hassan definitely came in full and round here. I think he outsized everyone in this lineup, and, by quite a healthy margin from the side especially. I do think the midsection was a bit of a problem when it came to control over the midsection. It was definitely noticeable in the side shots especially, but definitely deserved second place here. Now, when it comes to Iain, I think we had a version of Iain where he was better than he was at the Olympia, and I do think he deserved the win here. But I also think we've seen better versions of Iain in the past. But the big question going into this competition season when it comes to Iain, like I said before, was surrounding his back. Has he improved from the back? And I think Iain looked better from the back here than he did at the Olympia. He seemed like he was maybe overarching at the lower back or something, especially during prejudging in the back double bicep, and it really made his lower lats kind of disappear. But look, I think that was more of a posing execution issue than a muscular atrophy issue, and I do think overall, like I said, his back is improved. So the question as to whether or not Iain can bring it from the back at this point, I think is kind of put to bed here. Iain's back, I think, is okay. So as for Iain's conditioning, I think considering this is the first show back working with Matt Jansen, Iain looked like he brought pretty good conditioning to the stage. I don't think it was his best conditioning we've ever seen. The Vancouver Pro comes to mind a few years ago. But overall, Iain's conditioning, I think, was a little bit better than Hassan's here. I think Hassan had better arms in the side chest, but I think Iain had better legs in the side leg overall. I think he had much more detail, but I do think that Iain was maybe a little bit flat here, if anything. Like I said, this show ran a few hours late, so I'm not surprised. Iain looked like he relatively had no chest in the front double bicep, honestly, which was kind of surprising to me because his chest looked really good in the front lat spread. His wide clavicles definitely helped with that chest development and the display of it. So at the end of the day, Iain was not necessarily at his best, but I did predict him to be the winner here, and he did take home the victory. But like I said, this was not a runaway for Iain like many of us thought it would be. It was a very close battle between him and Hassan. So we also had Ross Flanigan take home third place here in this lineup, and I think Ross showed up in fantastic shape. I think he brought a level of conditioning similar to what we saw in California, maybe a little bit better even. I just think that Ross is being outsized in this lineup when he's standing next to guys like Hassan and Iain. But you know, Ross is not oblivious to that. He actually updated his Instagram story just after prejudging and said that he weighed in this morning at 229 pounds. So Iain and Hassan have, 30 pounds on him? Ross showed up in the best shape he possibly could here, you guys. I think he'll be much improved by the Olympia. He's very happy with his placing here, so congratulations to Ross Flanigan on third place. Now in fourth place, we had Robin Strand, and I really want to give Robin a good shout out here. Robin was actually, I think, the most conditioned guy on stage. He was inside out conditioned, and he held on to a good amount of fullness, which made him very comparable in that top four. This is a great showing for Robin, and when he gains some more size overall, I think if he picks the right show, then he'll be a contender for a win in the near future. Conditioning-wise, he doesn't have to do a single thing. He nailed it here in Toronto, and he should be really happy with this showing. I was really impressed with what Robin brought to the stage, and congratulations on fourth place. Now in fifth place, we had Joe Seaman, and I actually had Joe in fourth place in my predictions and Robin in fifth, so otherwise I was correct. Those were the two that flip-flopped though for me. Joe unfortunately looked like he missed the mark on this one. I think his conditioning was noticeably off. He looked like he was pretty washed out. I think he was a little bit spilled over actually. It looked like he was struggling with his midsection control a little bit as well. I think Joe definitely had a better showing at the New York Pro. Now, I know that Joe has done extended lengths of contest preps in the past. He was in contest prep mode for like 8 months straight at one point. I think it was the 2021 season. So I thought that doing these two shows in close vicinity to each other would have made a difference for him holding on to that conditioning. But I mean, who really knows, you guys? But the show also being 3 hours late from when prejudging was scheduled definitely didn't help him any. Maybe all of these guys could have looked sharper overall at the show. But Joe took fourth place at the New York Pro, now he takes fifth place at the Toronto Pro. So in two lineups, he was fairly consistent, and there was a couple of really big names in this Toronto Pro. So overall, I think that Joe can go back and make improvements, but congratulations to Joe Seaman on fifth place. So there you have it, you guys. I think overall the Toronto Pro looked like a pretty exciting show. Congratulations to all of the athletes that competed in the Toronto Pro. And you know, to be honest with you guys, after prejudging, I was giving a slight edge to Hassan Mustafa. I think this was a decision that came down to only 2 or 3 points difference on the judges' scorecards, so I'll be interested to read those when they come out. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with the placings at the Toronto Pro? Did you have Iain winning over Hassan? Should Ross have taken even second place in your opinion over Hassan? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. I hope you enjoyed the coverage of the Toronto Pro. Be sure to like and subscribe.